Love tech, man. It's so, I've learned not to get frustrated though. It's just like crazy. All right, here we go. Welcome to this week's episode, everybody. Thank you to our bounce person, Sandy, for bringing me in here. Last week's show, Drew Perlman, rediscovering your higher self. Rediscovering your higher self. Drew's been on the show a long, long time ago. Great filmmaker, amazing guy, and check that one out. He is somebody you want to check out. As all of our guests are they're just, it's just so amazing what we do with the talk show and the license that I've been given. The complete. It's so awesome to have our guests come into this show and meet all these new people. John Broschak's going to be our guest today. John's back. John's not a new guest. John's a buddy. He and I hit it off. The Renaissance Man 2, calling it the Renaissance Man 2, because that's what I called the first show, Renaissance Man. John Broschak. He is, let me get his bio out here. Founder, Energy Leadership Advisors, been in the energy industry for a long time, was in the military, holds a BS in chemical engineering from Penn State University. Although he does have a Michigan State shirt on his, on one of his posts. And we could talk about that too, but hey, Big Ten, executive MBA, great school. Penn State's awesome. University of Chicago, another halfway decent school. They're okay. Licensed professional engineer. Never talked about that. That's another hard one to get. This guy's got more hard degrees to get than, I don't know, Santa Claus or something. I mean, he's a certified project management professional, licensed nuclear. Check this out. Licensed nuclear senior reactor operator. I can guarantee you that he is the only senior nuclear reactor operator ever on this program. So, guy's got to be pretty smart. Habitual, lifelong learner, which we love talking about that kind of stuff. Devoted servant leader. John has served on numerous boards and helps a lot of people. Lives in Wayland, Michigan with his wife, Kelly, although he is in Arizona in his studio, coming to us from the Arizona area where we will be in another month or so. I want to welcome back to the program my buddy, John, the man, JB Broschak. Jay, what's going on? How are you?
Tom, how are you? It's an honor, a true honor to be back and spending some time with you.
Hey, thank you, buddy. I appreciate that very much. How's the family? We talked about Kelly a little bit. I had on my previous notes, 36 years, and Corey, your son. How's everybody doing? How's your trip to Arizona? And go ahead, get caught up, do the This Is Your Life thing for a few minutes, and then we'll roll on.
Yeah, so my wife and I were just talking about it last night. The problem we have is you can't be in more than one place at a time. So our son, lovely daughter-in-law, and now 16-month-old grandbaby live in Falls Church, Virginia, just outside of Washington, D.C. So we spent about a month, August, September, down there for her 1-year birthday, and she's now walking. They were up for a solid week over the holidays, and it was just so great. I mean, her personality is blooming. It's just it's precious time. And then we're trying the snowbird thing. You mentioned the Arizona. We're down in the Phoenix area. I think there's been a lot of social media posts about the lack of sunshine up in Michigan, and although we've had a little bit of rain down here, it's sunny right now. It's going to be 75 and sunny today. So we're going to give this a shot, see if it adds a year or more to our lives, to try and take in some more vitamin D. But life is good. Since we last talked, still doing the martial arts studio, my wife and I. Well, like all small business owners, it's challenging. And we're still working our way to profitability, but we've got 120-ish members, some success stories under our belt, great staff, and really trying to give back to the community. So we're adding some programming there, trying to get the membership up, but it's pretty stable right now. We just need to get to that point where we're actually bringing in more than we're putting out. As most small business owners know, there's a threshold there.
Nothing wrong with stable, bro. Nothing wrong with stable.
And then just on the personal side, picked up some contracting work. I'm doing some work with veterans, some career transition work there, workforce development. Was able to pick up some contracting work with an energy company, and life is good. Life is just good, and hopefully we'll get a chance to talk about it. Just this boundless optimism that I just feel about the future, maybe for the first time ever. That I have no idea what's going to happen, but I know it's going to be good, and I can't wait to wake up tomorrow and find out what tomorrow is going to bring. And that's a great place to be.
Gratitude is a grateful thing to have in your life, or gratitude and gratefulness. I know if I said that backwards or forwards, but you know me, I'm a Yogi Berraism kind of guy. John Broschak's with us, everybody. JB, Renaissance man too. No, you're spot on. And when we connect, when we come out to Arizona and we record an energy episode with you and talking about, you know, your perspective from all of this, I'm really interested in talking about that. But for today, you know, the boundless optimism is it's where we got to go. We need to lead. Our generation needs to pick up the pace of helping our younger generations. We got this giant wealth handoff coming down the road, hopefully a ways. But, you know, you've got this huge transfer of wealth with the boomers. And I'm hoping you and I both live to 100 with quality of life, as I've said. Hey, you know, and help with your granddaughter and your family, and just keep on keeping on, brother. So I do see post-COVID being a very, very great opportunity for people to expand and grow. That's why I brought the ReFirement Zone back, John. I mean, because so many people, you know, you did the unretirement thing. That's how I found you. Talk about that article just a little bit. Did a refresher. If you haven't heard the original interview with John, which you can go to our website, TomAtShow.com, and you can find that there. But John, the way I found John was pretty unique. And so you want to recap that? Because we got about 3 minutes before we go to break here, and just tell everybody how you became so famous.
Well, I don't know. What Andy Rooney, you get your 15 minutes, right? So I started posting online of, you know, post-retirement, putting out some thought leadership, they call it. And one line was an announcement of the retirement. And it just so happened that Tom Brady, of all people, you know, Michigan alum, he announced his retirement from football right about the same time. So I kind of hopped on that bandwagon and said, you know, all full difference to Tom, I'm also retiring. And I had plans, you know, for that next phase. I think of it more as a transition than a full retirement, because I don't even know what retirement means yet. But sure enough,
I'll help you with that one.
Okay, I was all getting ready to kind of launch, you know, what a little bit of what the next phase was going to be for me, and then he turns around and he unretires, and so I accelerated things a little bit, and basically within a day or so of his announcement of unretirement, I announced my unretirement, and I made another reference to Tom Brady, and I started playing around with the hashtag thing, and so hashtag unretired, you know, hashtag Tom Brady kind of stuff, and sure enough, I got, I don't know, 30,000 views on LinkedIn, which, you know, far surpasses anything I've ever done. I'm not a very famous person, Tom. You're far too kind. But it got picked up by this Wall Street Journal reporter who was doing an article on people who have unretired, and kind of the theme was, you know, Tom Brady has, you know, millions and millions of followers, but she picked me up through this hashtag, and so she calls me up. And I thought it was a scam. Like, really? You know, Wall Street Journal? Seriously? And within a couple of days, we'd done an interview on the phone. It went well enough that they sent out someone for a photo shoot, dispatched somebody from Detroit over to our home on the west side of the state for a photo shoot. We ended up being the cover photo on this article in the Wall Street Journal. And it was one of, I think, 5 people telling their story. But it was just that, you know, as you navigate that next phase. But that was my 15 minutes of slight fame, being kind of the cover story in a Wall Street Journal article on this topic of unretiring. And, you know, it's been a series of those kinds of things where I could not have planned that. I kind of went with it. In fact, my wife has been looking wide-eyed at a lot of this stuff that's been going on, and we're just trying to figure it out, just like everybody is. You know, what is that next phase look like?
Now you're a radio star, and you're a star, and you're a martial artist, studio owner, and and all of these other good things. And that's what happens in life. John Broschak's our guest today, everybody, the Renaissance Man. Renaissance Man 2. We're going to go to break here. I want to thank you all for listening to us. Stick around because boundless optimism is going to be our theme today. Tom Matt Show. John Broschak. Be right back. All right. That when stuff works. I got to read here. And did you hear music?
I did not.
Okay. So that's something that, that's fine. I just happened to ask Drew that last night and he was like, no, I didn't hear anything. I'm like, okay. The intros, and I hear music. And so, and I never had that before. So, here we go. Oh, too much stuff. People start seeing the videos of the B-roll behind the scenes stuff. They're going to be, it's pretty interesting. It's kind of comical. I mean, that's what I'm looking for. Seeing. Like, he's going to cut out all of the outtakes of the between the segments stuff.
The bloopers.
As the bloopers. We're recording this. It'd be hilarious. It'd be great. All right, here we go. Oh man. Your Ameriprise financial advisor, our Ameriprise financial advisor, Craig Stiles, can help you plan for the life you want today and well into the future with the right financial advisor. Life can be-ism, everybody. Be brilliant. Call Craig, please. 517-483-4893. His email is craig.stiles@ampf.com. His 800 numbers 1-800-528-1355, and his offices are located just even if you're not in mid-Michigan or if you're in Arizona, like our guest today, John Broschak, there's Ameriprise all over the place. You can get with Craig. He can put you in touch with the people. That's the thing about connecting with people. Good people connect with good people, connecting with good people. And all of a sudden you've got this awesome network of good people. You got to cut all that dead wood out. Craig Stiles is not the guy you want to cut out. You want him. And in full disclosure, as I've said to everybody, listen, we got all of our savings, our retirement money with Craig now. I'm fully in the ReFirement Zone, just like my buddy John Broschak is, just like Sandy is. It's all good. It's not retirement, it's refinement. But anybody that's switching gears in any career phase, any point of your life, that's called refiring. Okay. Come to the ReFirement Zone with us. We're going to do some good things. Radio stations carrying us, haven't carried us, are carrying us all over the place. I just like to say the radio stations who have been kind to us. WGHN 92.1, for sure, the first station in broadcast radio to carry us on the lakeshore of Lake Michigan. That's why I say them first, because they are the awesome one. MAB with them through Wendy Hart and in Will Tiemann. WGIM 1240 AM in Lansing, WJRW 1340 in Grand Rapids. We were on there for a long time. WKLQ in Muskegon, Whitehall, WYPV FM 94.5 in Mackinac City, and our PBS affiliate at the Big Green Machine, Big Ten Country, WKAR AM 870 News Talk. They're so awesome. If you are hearing my voice and I didn't say your call letter, send me a note, go to the contact box and send us a note and tell us, because our family is talk radio. Again, I want to thank Craig Stiles for creating Decedary Analytics, his proprietary algorithm, which helps him get over the top with making the decisions with your financial fitness. And if you want to hear more of that, just go to the website and listen to the financial fitness episodes. There's a whole bunch of them, at least 20 of them there. Check them out. It's all free. It's all there. And at the bottom of that page, you can find Craig and Brock Fletcher. Lastly, I want to plug the Michigan Talk Network, Steve and Ivy Gruber, for carrying us and having the faith in us, putting us on syndicated radio. Thank you for doing that, you guys. You're awesome. All right, John Broschak's back. John Broschak's got such a great attitude. Love the guy. I mean, he and I are going to be buddies for a long time. It's how you find people, right, John? I mean, you connect with people and you just know. I mean, you can tell if people got it going on. I mean, you probably saw this in the military, working for big energy and in executive positions. I mean, you probably saw this, and it's just like, right, circle the wagons, bring your good people in, and more good people come in. Has that been happening for you?
Well, I go back to our first conversation on the phone. I think we had, I don't know, 30 minutes planned. It was just kind of an intro call. And I was looking at my watch an hour and a half later going, holy cow, like I have just so many connections with this guy, Thomas Matt, reaching out to me. And it's just that thing just kind of flows when you have that energy that's emanating outward, and you start to make the connections and you realize you have a lot more in common, because I think all of us humans have a lot more in common than what we don't agree on, and you just go with it. But that was a magical first conversation for sure.
Thank you. That was amazing. I can always tell when I have a pre-show call with a first-time guest. That's part of our operating procedure, everybody. But we also have commonalities with, this is my 25th, 2023 is my 25th year of sobriety. And, it's been an interesting ride. I'm going to be doing a video on that very soon, problem drinking and alcoholism. And I've done some reading and some research on all of that. And again, as I said earlier in the first segment, cutting dead wood, that was part of my life, of cutting things that weren't helping me out. And that's the point of bad behaviors. And if you want to have boundless optimism, like we're going to talk about with John, you got to start figuring out, is this helping me? Is this hurting me? Are these empty calories doing anything for me, or are they not? So, I mean, how do you feel about that one, John? 25 years, baby.
That's amazing. Congratulations. I know of that journey, and that is an amazing accomplishment. So, Tom, great job. You're an inspiration to many, many others.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, it's just one of those, again, think of it as just cutting dead wood. Is it adding to your life, or is it not? If it is not, then you need to make some decisions, and so you need to make some choices. All right, let's talk about choices and boundless optimism. You sent over some bullets that just made me feel really good to read your bullets. I mean, thank you for doing that. I appreciate that. But you said in your very first bullet, despite my persistent disbelief, I love this one so much, John. Despite my persistent disbelief, I've now experienced the magic of positive affirmations. Okay, baby, go ahead.
Well, I have 11 of them. And I did it very scientifically. I did it very scientifically. So, as the engineer, whatever I am, project manager that I am, and I picked my 11, and there's a sequence to them. But I most mornings, as I'm either meditating or just sitting quietly, I'll run through them. And it's the first one is I choose to start my day with a smile. And there's a series of them. I won't go through them all today, but it's just things I say to myself. And the reason I got onto it is I got very much into meditation. I don't even like to use the cliche mindfulness, but just the need to calm myself on the inside, which led to seeking out. I got certified in transcendental meditation. Whatever your path is, it's basically the same thing, regardless of what label you put on it. But this idea of positive affirmation has been floating around for a long, long time. And if you don't believe in it, it's a bunch of hogwash, right? It's just like, oh yeah, right. So you talk about, I want this positive thing to happen in my life, and you just keep saying it to yourself, and all of a sudden somebody drives up and hands you the keys to the Corvette, right? And I just kind of dismissed it, and over and over again, I would hear stories of how it had worked for somebody, and I would just say, yeah, whatever, But really, at the end of the day, it's whether you call it prayer, or you call it, those things you say to yourself, to your higher power, your higher self. And that's the tape that's playing in the background as you go throughout your day. And if it's positive, then you will attract positivity into your life. If it's negative, and we all get in those modes and periods in our lives where everything is negative, and all we're saying to ourselves is, you're a failure, you haven't accomplished this, whatever, it's not enough, it's not enough. But what you say to yourself will reinforce how you think and how you view what's happening in your life. And so this idea that positive affirmations have a value, because I get into situations now where I would react in a negative way in the past, or I didn't deal with them very well. And because I have some positive affirmations that I say on a routine basis, that's the script that plays in my head before I react. It's almost subconscious after a while. There's some that I say throughout the day because I have to remind myself, hey, you said this is how you want to be. So maybe you should start like thinking about them. And it's just been magical. It's just been magical. And I don't think you ever have it completely figured out, but the difference for me in how I deal with some challenging situations has been just magical.
Hold that thought, because I want to come back to this. The inner voice stuff is so important. John Broschak's with us today, the Renaissance man too. We'll be right back. Spot on. All right, another read to go. Let's roll, baby. Let's do this thing. The simplest way to connect with us is via our website, tommattshow.com, where you will find a redesigned, simpler page, big blue buttons. The YouTube stuff is there. All of the big podcast aggregators are there. Please check those out. Please go to the YouTube pages and check those out. Please subscribe to those if you'd like, or get little bits and pieces where you're going to start seeing some videos from the radio program on the podcast channel, Tom Matt Show. And then the RFZ channel is the RFZ channel. And if you haven't been to the RFZ channel, go check out the RFZ channel. You're going to find some very interesting, fun things there. Short, nothing big, no big deal, and of course that YouTube thing's it's all free. And I think YouTube is an amazing resource for the world. Maybe that's what, with John's, my guest today, John's boundless optimism. One thing that's got me boundlessly optimistic is all of the YouTube stuff and just focusing on that, because I've been in higher ed for almost 24 years now that I refired out of higher ed and non-traditional education as a student, undergrad and graduate work. So, hey man, I get all this stuff, and the YouTube thing is amazeballs. ReFirement Zone is all about community, collaboration, and cooperation, the 3 C's of sharing stories and ideas, the RFZ Chronicles, and our TMS YouTube channel. All right. However you want to connect with us, you guys, we want to build an engaged society and team here. That's why a guy like John Broschak comes on the radio program. We get to share fun things and tips and ideas and what's going on in life. And, it might not fit for you, but take little pieces of what we're talking about and apply a small, tiny chunk. Don't make it a big chunk. Find a small chunk and go with it. Okay. All right, John, inner voice. Let's talk about that. You started the tape and your 11 affirmations. And I want to ask you right now, would you please send those to me so I can put those on the recap of this episode? Because people are going to ask me, hey, you guys talk about these 11 affirmations that John does. Well, okay. So is that fair? Can we just do that? We'll just give them a list.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what I meant when I said I use the scientific method, I actually got a book of like the 500 top affirmations. This stuff's all readily available. And I went through and I read the whole thing, and I wrote down like the 50 that said something to me. And then I narrowed it down and got it down to the 11. And 11 is not a magical number. It's just those were told a coherent story to me, but that's how I did it. And it works.
Books are an amazing thing. That's part of the problem that I see, or challenges that I see. Maybe I should rephrase that. The challenge that I see coming forward, John, is the soundbite type of mentalities that we have. People don't read enough books. And I became a book reader later in life. I mean, as a non-traditional student in my 40s. And so then Sandy helped me, and then we did this radio thing. And then all of a sudden I realized that, getting coaching and everything, you got to read a lot to be decent in radio. And so then it just took off. I mean, it was like an obsession. Imagine that, me obsessive compulsive. I mean, hey, it's worked because it's helped me. And like you're talking about with your, out of the 500 affirmations, you came up with your 11. Talk about the inner voice conversation that people have and that you've had with yourself, and some of the things and some of that tape that you refer to as playing in your head. That's the inner voice stuff. And what we got to do is have a relationship with our inner voice.
Yeah, and it's the things that you repeatedly say to yourself. I'll move on to that second bullet that I sent you on Stoics, right? So there's a lot of popular information out on Stoicism, and Ryan Holiday is a very popular author with that. But
You read all his stuff?
Um, Bits and pieces, like you
Supplement?
said, lifelong learning. When you get into lifelong learning, there's like unlimited amounts of stuff you can read or listen to, and so sometimes the problem is actually getting through it. But when you boil it down, that inner voice is, what can you control? And you and I think have been lifelong control freaks. Many of your listeners probably are as well. And the Stoics try to really boil down what can you control, and it's been a timeless philosophy. And there's two things. There's only two things. You can control how you interpret or react or your judgment of something that happens to you or around you, and your voluntary response or voluntary action coming out of that. That's it. Initially you say, oh, that's not true. I control so many things in my life. I control everything. No, 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 you don't. And it really takes some soul searching to grasp that at the end of the day, that's all you can control. And so when your inner voice is reinforcing with you that this thing that happened to me, I couldn't have controlled it anyway. So why am I getting so upset about it? And it's not like you're emotionless. It's just like you get more centered around, I'm not going to be upset about things I can't control, which is very little. Very little. There's a lot they talk about, even your physical health. You can't necessarily control. You can't. I mean, you can try to support it and maybe make some good decisions, but you can't control it. All you can control is your interpretation and your voluntary action. And so that voice, as these things happen to you over and over again, through, again, the positive affirmations, studying whatever philosophy, resonates with you, allows you to be just so much more centered. And as you experience things that you've experienced in the past and maybe didn't have such a great outcome, you're able to kind of see it in real time now as it's happening, to produce a better, more positive stability for yourself as you move through those things. It's that it gets back to, what are you repeatedly saying to yourself, that what inner voice is kicking it.
You're listening to the John Broschak show here. Tom Metz, the guest. And John Broschak, he's killing it. I mean, and that's the thing, when I first met John and we had that hour and a half conversation and we did the first interview, it was like, listen, bro, you got to come on this show like quarterly. You need to help coach me up a little, because we can each feed off of each other, right? I mean, so what you're saying, the stability, the choices, you said a B-ism that I don't even think is on my list with my B-isms, but you said be centered. That's perfect. I mean, if you can find that balance in your life, you can actually deal with it a lot better. Because one of my doctor friends, John, again, John Broschak's our guest today, everybody. One of my doctor friends from way back in radio told me, Tom, he was a European. Tom, you have to have the better odds in your life. And that was the whole thing about health and living longer. He says, better odds. Just, you never know. Like you were saying, right? Better odds. Got a couple minutes before we go to break here, John. What do you think about that? Just take the better odds and make good choices and have your affirmations, and voila, good things can occur, but it takes
Yeah.
time.
At the end of the day, you're dealt a series of cards, right? I don't want to make it into a cliche. It's what you do with them. So some of us are not blessed with good health, despite all of our best. And we know of people like that, or maybe you're suffering from something that was beyond your control. What do you do in response to that? That's the question. What do you do in response to that? And then what voluntary action do you take to make the best of what God has given you? And that's what it gets down to.
It comes down to choices. I mean, you really have to be focused on those things. And if you have had health issues, and I've had them, it's been in our family. I mean, it's how do you rebound? What are you going to do about those odds? How are you going to increase the odds? And you're trying to play to the game a little bit, the game of life. And so again, making choices. John Broschak's our guest today, everybody. John's got a couple more points that we're going to talk about. John, I got a minute and a half to go before we go to break. Why don't you share with everybody where you want to drive this thing with your last two bullets, and then we'll go to break.
Yeah, so let's stay on the boundless optimism thing. That's where we're gonna land here. Is when you realize that all you can control is how you react, what goes on in your brain, and then what voluntary action you take. You then kind of connect to all you can control is what you do right now. right? Not what you did yesterday, not what you're going to do tomorrow, what you're going to do right now. That's all you have is right now. And that's where the boundless optimism topic will take us.
This guy's amazing. I mean, he's got a great career, done some cool stuff, raised a great son. He got a great relationship with his wife, done it right, had some ups and downs. Hey, we all do. That's the whole thing about what we're talking about, everybody. John Broschak, the Renaissance man too. Boundless optimism is the overarching theme. We'll be right back. Excellent. So good. Another read here. And let me get that ready. Dun, 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 dun. You're good at this, man.
Oh, thank you.
Have some fun. No, you really are solid. I mean, it's just, it's, I was telling somebody about doing a successful podcast. You got to have, it's like baseball. I use baseball analogy all the time. Color and play by play, color and play by play. You got to have, you can't have two color people. You can't have two play by play people, never work. And so, you know, I'm the play by play guy. I'm the just guy that keeps it rolling. You're the color guy. You're the expert, you know, my experts. And if you have those roles established, then you just work together with this stuff. Okay, here we go. Just makes it fun. Our fourth segment sponsor is our pal, my bro from another mother, Brock Fletcher at the selling team of Keller Williams Realty. Please call Brock today, 517-853-6408. You can go online to the kwsellingteam.com website. You can go to the TomMattShow.com website. At the bottom of that homepage, you can find a banner there for Brock or Craig, kwsellingteam.com. Full disclosure, as I say every show when I do Brock's read, which isn't really a read, it's more of a, you know, pouring it out from my soul. Brock was our selling agent in Big House Holt. He was our buyer's agent for Little House Lansing. Mike Dedman, you rock. He was our agent. It was all about trust. It was all about taking that anxiety away because I've got other things that I need to focus on. And that's not anything that I do. I am not a real estate person, but we needed to do something because our lives had changed as so many other people's lives have changed. Call Brock if you're getting another home like John Broschak in Arizona or Florida or California or something, Texas. KW Selling Team, Keller Williams is massive, as everyone probably knows. Brock will put you in touch. Just send him the note. Okay. Here's the super secret number. I'm going to give it to you twice. 517-303-3262. 517-303-3262. That's the super secret number to his pocket, the thing called a cell phone. It's really a radio. You know, cell phones are really radios. We can talk about that too another time. Brock Fletcher, tell him, text him, say, heard it from Tommy. If you say Tommy, he knows it's a radio thing because all my radio friends call me Tommy. I don't know why that happened, but it's kind of cool. I kind of like it in a way. Brock is the man. Again, please call Brock, the office number 517-853-6408, or go online to kwsellingteam.com. That's kwsellingteam.com, or Google search Brock Fletcher, spelled just like it sounds, and he'll take care of you. I got a million stories. Go to Reality of Real Estate on the website. Again, multiple, almost as many episodes as Craig. I mean, there's at least 15 episodes there. Whatever your choice is, it's all that's why we do it this way. So you can find answers to what you're going through, and boom, doesn't cost you anything. All right, John Broschak's our guest today, my buddy, joining us from Arizona, where we're going to be in another month or so, and looking forward to going out there. The Renaissance man too, boundless optimism. All right, bro. Living in the present and being in the now, boy, you, I mean, again, as I said earlier, your bullets on our topic for today was just like, got me fired up. I'm like, man, I'm looking forward to this conversation with this guy. How did you come up with that? I mean, is it something that you've embraced? Was it like when you had this epiphany, Was it like you turned the page, or was this kind of a gradual thing? What was the process for John Broschak to reach where you're at now? Because you're in a different place.
Yeah, and I want to put the disclaimer out there. I do not have anything figured out. I have bad days, and I have to remind myself of the things that I'm saying to you now. And it's been a gradual journey and a process of putting pieces together that work for me. And I believe everyone has to do that on their own. I'm not one to say, go buy the program and you're going to reach nirvana. I think somebody's trying to sell you something. I think you have to figure out what works. You have to, as you said, remove things that are negative in your life. And if you're committed to that, some of these pieces of a puzzle are going to start to come together. So this, a lot of it was this feeling of anxiety, that you have about the future when you enter the retirement zone.
You had that?
When you're in corporate, right? Or you're pursuing a corporate career, it's the next promotion, it's the next performance evaluation. It's a bit more structured. You kind of know what you're shooting for. You get to the retirement zone, and it's like, what the heck do I do now? Like, where do I go? And I think I said I want to get better sleep. I want to feel more content and happy, and I want to build on whatever strengths and experiences I've had up to this point in life. And this idea, I kind of stumbled on this idea of being in the now, and it just sounded intriguing to me. If you grasp around what you can control and what you can't control. So that's where you get to this balanced optimism. And when I say I stumbled on a lot of this stuff, there's a great book called Stumbling on Happiness that I recommend to a lot of people. It's been out for 20 plus years, but I've started to experience that feeling of optimism because I'm more consistently in the now. And I'm not worried about tomorrow as much, or what's going to happen in 6 months, or what's going to happen in 5 years, because I'm trying consciously to be present right now. And that's generated this feeling inside of me of like, I'm really excited about what might happen. And I'm going to view that in a positive way. And maybe something really crappy will happen, and I'm going to view it in a positive way and say, okay, I'm not going to do that again. But I'm filled now with this sense that something really good's about to happen. And that was not my life for a long time. It was like, how do I prevent the bad thing from happening? How do I control life enough that the bad thing doesn't happen? And now it's like, I have no idea what's going to happen, but I know it's going to be good. And that's a great place to be. And again, it's not every moment of every waking day that I have, but I know better how to get back there when I start to stray.
John, have you ever heard the term, excuse me, have you ever heard the term generativity? I mentioned this in our previous episode with Drew, but have you ever heard that word generativity?
I have not. I have not.
So you need to make a note of this. Drew had as well, but generativity is, as you grow older, my simple definition from Tom's Simple Brain is the bling bling doesn't have the same ring, if you catch what I'm saying. I mean, the Corvette is like, who cares? I mean, all of that extra, the Rolex, for me, having a fancy watch would be kind of like not me. So the bling bling doesn't have as much because you want to give back. So generativity, as we grow older, it becomes more of a focused feeling. So that feeling that you are experiencing is really generativity. You're feeling that additional intrinsic desire to help and give back, and it's making you better, and it's making you feel better. And it's amazing when this starts to happen. It takes a while because it's a little bit of wisdom mixed in with a little bit of this, a little bit of experience, and getting slapped down a few times. I mean, it all goes into the stew pot, right? I mean, and you've obviously been there. You've obviously been there.
Well, we all get in that rat race, if you will, of trying to accomplish more than the person next to you. I just got done with another a book called The Second Curve. I think it's called The Second Curve. I can get you the actual title of it, but it's that idea of having the courage to make that decision to get on a different curve on your life, a different trajectory on your life. And usually it's when you get to the reFirement Zone, letting go of those things that you were chasing. Because you're never going to have enough. You're never going to get high enough. You're never going to have, everything that you think you're supposed to have. And having, again, that courage to not that you give up on the race, but that you realize that it's just not worth it.
Well, you might want to get into your better odds. You might want to take those cards and you might want to think, hey, I might want to play this hand a little different, right? It's not
Yeah.
where I'm going to go and I'm going to slap down. Oh man, I'm drawn. I'm drawn to the inside straight. Uh-oh, not a good move. Just go for the pair. I mean, settle down because you might only need the pair. Okay. So play the cards a little bit differently. Got the same cards, but things are going to occur. And so you make different choices. And that's kind of where you go. I like the thought of that second curve book. That sounds like Generativity 101. And I'm going to be looking that one up for sure. Is that new? That second curve book?
I believe so. I'm on both Audible and Kindle, and so
Okay.
they'll come up with recommendations based on the last book I read.
You like the Whisper Sync?
I haven't read it yet.
Well, that's that feature that Amazon has when you get the Kindle.
Yeah.
And I've talked to a lot of people about this, and I've actually asked some of my professor friends at the university, do you think you retain the material? And after years and years and years of doing this Whisper Sync and buying when you buy a Kindle book, you can get the Audible for cheaper, less expensive. And it's a great feature here. And so I'm going to carry this through, John, because we're going to come up on break here. Let me reset everything, everybody. John Broschak's with us. We're talking specifically about boundless optimism. Imagine that. I mean, when you tune into this radio program podcast, which I am very, very grateful to anyone and everyone who tunes into this. And I'm talking about Bill Coast. I'm talking about Chris Johnson. I'm talking about all the people out there all over the place that listen to this thing regularly. I appreciate you. I love you guys so much, and all the women out there that love everyone so much for doing all of that. It's all good. John Broschak is helping us feed into continuing making our content better and better. He is an amazing guy, John Broschak, the Renaissance man too. Can't say enough about it. We're coming up on our last segment. We'll be right back. So easy. You cake. And that's the thing about this, Drew and I were talking about this yesterday, and it's like, I was feeling, because he's a filmmaker who's into podcasting, because I know he's younger. He's probably 40. But he, if you put out all this great storytelling and make all these movies, and then, you don't hit the jackpot on something, and, you start to get discouraged, but you got to continue to stay, moving forward instead of living in regret. And so, it's all good. Now, this is the plug for you, whatever you want to do. I'm going to do this quick freebie read for us for speaking. But if you want to share your website, email, you have all that handy, John? Your phone number, whatever you want to, however you want to do it.
I can spout it off. Sure.
Okay, cool. All right, here we go. If you are a nonprofit, school, church, or youth group and need to spice it up with some talent, please go to our website, commatshow.com. Contact box is right there. Share with us your situation, because we are accepting applications for pro bono speaking engagements in the mid-Michigan area. Okay. I will facilitate, basically be like an MC guy, a group of speaking engagement and bring people together, talent, and kind of do like a little bit of the radio show, but I would be the moderator, and bring in a Craig Stiles, financial fitness from Ameriprise, Brock Fletcher, reality or real estate selling team of Keller Williams. Maybe I can get a John Broschak, if he's in town, who knows? I will reach out to different people, and we will do our best to bring talent in. This is, again, a pro bono freebie event. So if you're a church group, if you're a school, scouting, any of that kind of stuff, and you're looking for some time, just let us know. We'll do that. Now, if you want to pay us, you can pay us. That's totally fine, but that's not what this is all about. This is about giving back to our community, because without our leadership, the ship will take on water, and I don't want that to happen. So that's why we do what we do. John, how do you do what you do, and how do people find you if they want to find you in the world of the internet? How would you like people to connect with you?
Well, if you're in the Grand Rapids area, particularly the Wyoming area, that's where our current open location is with Premier Martial Arts. So you can find us online by searching Premier Martial Arts, and reach out, and hopefully we can help your kids or even you learn character development through the martial arts. If you want to reach out to me directly, I'm most predominantly on LinkedIn. So you can just search by my last name, Broschak, Broschak. But my consulting company name is energyleadershipadvisors.com. And we've got a very simple website. You can fill out a form, so you can reach out. I advertise myself as an executive leadership coach, motivational speaker, and business and technical consultant. And whatever comes my way, if it sounds like an interesting project or engagement, I'm more than happy to talk about it. But that information's there, and be happy to work with anybody who's on their journey.
Super talented, been down the journey, doing the thing, cutting the dead wood. He said the ReFirement Zone 3 times, so I love him. He's awesome. Maybe he'll say it 3 more times in this segment. Hey, the RFZ, everybody, go to the RFZ. We want everybody there with us. Okay. It's all about us. If we don't do this, as I say, you know, with the community collaboration and cooperation, we're in deep trouble here. All right. So we're going to make it through point 4 here in this final segment. I hope. And if you miss any part of the show, everybody, remember, you can always go to the website, TomMetzShow.com, and get the podcast for all of the previous episodes that are there. And that website is looking very, very sweet, very solid. So please go there. You get John's first episode with us for sure. You can search names, you can search topics. There's 12 different topic category little tiles there. So click on any of them. And you know, I'm a mental health advocate. So when it comes to mental health, that's my sweet spot, and just love talking about it. Okay, so your last point is it's so important. It's good to close with, because it really is, when you have this envious sort of mindset and you got this competitive, you know, we're brought up in this competitive environment, right? We grow up as like, win the game, do the thing, score the touchdown, beat the other person, be successful in business, and step on those other, can't have competition, all that kind of stuff. That's where I think you're going with your last point here, John. And I'd like to let you kind of jump in. So please do talk about that one, comparing yourself, please.
Yeah, well, I'll give the full credit. Desiderata by Max Ehrman, written in 1927. It's a fairly popular poem. You can find it out there. So this is a line from that poem. And this is something I came across as a teenager. And then finally, as I got a little bit older, did the research and got a full copy of it. I have it committed to memory, and it's part of my things I say to myself over and over again. There's a line in there called, "If you compare yourself to others, you may become vain and bitter. For always there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself." As we move through life and we're trying to be the best and we're trying to beat everybody else, there's somebody better out there. And on the flip side, no matter how low you've fallen in whatever phase you're in, there's somebody that's worse off. And it's a choice to compare yourself. And if you do that, you're either going to get, vain, and we know the song and how that goes, or you're going to get bitter. And I wouldn't recommend either one. So if you want to check out the Desiderata poem, there's a lot of great stuff in there throughout as far as lessons for life. But that was one that it has resonated with me lately. I'm a bit out of the business now of comparing myself as much to others, and just trying to live my life of fulfillment as much as I can, so I don't become vain and or bitter.
Well, it's just reflecting back, and that's the whole thing about living with regret. And I have in one of my speaking engagements, John, I talk about using the past and your failures and all of and that regret that you may carry, and using that as the fuel. You being the engineer, the nuclear guy, you use that as part of the fuel for your rocket. Okay, so you take those memories and all of those things, and that you allow that to help you look forward. We're not always looking in the rearview mirror. That's part of the problem. I mean, comparing ourselves with others, it's like, well, why didn't I get that job promotion? Man, I wish I had that car, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. No. You want to take that energy, because energy, you have it right. Okay, let me put it to you this way, professional engineer. Energy. you have energy, and you only have so much of this bucket of energy, right? So do you want to increase the good energy? Because isn't there always going to be a side effect of energy being bad or being negative or being, you know where I'm going with this? You picking up what I'm kind of throwing down here?
Well, I guess the twist I put on it is I think you want to remove the friction from your life because that wastes your energy. And whatever energy we're bestowed on or we can generate ourselves, we want it to flow as freely as possible. And so negative people in your life, getting vain or bitter, creates friction. It's going to waste energy. It's going to limit your potential.
Perfect. See, that's why we have smart people on this radio program. You remove the friction so that your energy can flow in a more consistent effort, consistently be good. And if you do hit that bump, you can deal with it. You can make choices. You've said choices several times here. Let's recap where we're going with this thing about, all of your points here. I'd like everybody, in case people are just joining us, John, and we got about 5 minutes to go before we got to wrap this thing, please go back through your points and kind of rehash them for me. I'm going to give you more time for a takeaway, but take the next 4 or 5 minutes and talk about all of your points, because every one of these points, everybody, is super solid. And I promise you, I will put the 11 affirmations up on the recap, and I'll probably just paste all of these notes into that recap as well. But John, please take the next bit of the show to kind of recap all of your points, if you would, please.
Absolutely. I'll go quickly, but you can listen to it over and over again. Despite my persistent disbelief, I've now experienced the magic of positive affirmation. So check it out. A lot of ways you can do that, but again, it's what you repeatedly say to yourself has an effect on how you view the world and how you respond to the things that happen to you. Check out the Stoics, plenty of information out there. The only thing you can control is your interpretation or how you respond, how your brain responds to the things that happen in your life, and then your voluntary actions you take, either in response to that or in general, your voluntary actions. That's it. All these other things you think you can control, you can't. So think about that. Those are the only things. And that leads you to all you can really control is what you do right now. And if you really wrap your brain around that, being in the now, being in the present, that's a place where you can affect what's going to go on, not what happened yesterday, not what's going to happen tomorrow, but right now. That will give you the possibility of experiencing boundless optimism because you're staying right where we are. And then the last point, a little bit related to it, is throughout this journey, if you choose to compare yourself to others, it could have a negative consequence because there's always going to be somebody better than you or somebody worse off than you. It can lead to vanity. It can lead to bitterness or resentment. And that's a choice of whether you want to continue a life where you're constantly comparing and keeping up with the Jones, whatever that phrase is, keeping up with the next door neighbor, or not. How about if you channel your energy into something more positive and get out of the I've got a better or a bigger thing than you do. It will lead to much more happiness.
I got one last question. We've got about a minute and a half to go. On your martial arts experience, how much of that mindset and the physical fitness for older adults is that applicable, and can it help them? And just in a short answer on that, I had that thought in my mind and I wanted to get to, I'm glad I had a chance to say that, but as a owner of studios, what is your take on that?
Yeah, well, our program is really about character development through the martial arts. So we really de-emphasize so much the physical aspects of that, but it's an important part. And we focus on 5 to 12-year-olds, but as we're talking about even older adults, it's that self-discipline, it's the character that you're developing to stick with something, to overcome challenges through this mechanism of martial arts. There's so many ways to get there. But again, it's looking at the why you're doing something and what you're trying to get out of it, and remember that that's the value you're going to take forward, rather than just the physical part, because we can't control our physical health completely, but you can certainly control your mind.
Always remember, before you can share your love with others, you must love yourself first. listening to good podcasts, reading good books. John Broschak's he's greatness. I mean, the Renaissance man too. Boundless optimism. Thanks again to John. John, thank you for being with me again today. It's great to see you, man. Great to talk to you.
Tommy, it's an honor every time you reach out to me. So I look forward to future opportunities to just spend some time with you and talk.
Thank you so much, Sandy, Samantha, Brock, Craig, Mitch, everybody. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you next weekend, everybody. Have a great week. Remember, Tom Matt Show is a production of Boomers Rock Media. We want to bring your story to life, and we appreciate all of you. Thank you. We're out. Save. Boom. Cool. Got it. You're the man.
All right.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Good to see you. I'll be in touch. We're not sure when we're driving out yet, but
Yeah,
it will be early February. And
excellent.
maybe we can go catch a baseball game or something,
That'd be fantastic.
that'd be fun to do. And
There's a little thing called the Super Bowl down here in early February. So
yeah,
there'll be a lot of people traveling this way.
All right, brother. Thank you so much. Good to see you.
Take care. Keep in touch.
All right, John. See you, buddy. Bye.
Bye now.